We started our show with one of the hottest teams in basketball, the Florida Gators, who picked up a big win, but don't stray your eyes away too far from Arkansas. They're on a 3-game winning streak right now. They won 6 of their last 7 after an 88-75 win over the Auburn Tigers, making Bud Walton Arena once again one of the toughest places to play in all of the SEC. Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Patrick Walsh. Patrick, this is a team that when we talked with our friends there in Arkansas, when it was Courtney Mims, and she says that, hey, John Calipari, it sometimes might take a while because his teams are so young, but it feels like this team is absolutely trending in the right direction.
Yeah, and I definitely would say, first of all, you had a freezing cold take last week. I'm sorry, I just got to hold you to it.
I know, I need to.
I know the whole gist is we're trying to make some overreactions here, but I don't think Darius Acuff listens to this program, but he's starting to play like he has, and he's taking a little bit of offense to your comments about how Nate Ament should be Freshman of the Year, and Darius Acuff ties his career high with 31 points. I think one of the biggest surprises was 7 of 10 from three-point range.
Yeah, he's been absolutely dominant, and you're right, it is freezing cold. Like I think since then, I believe it was like the last week of January. Since then, he's had a 31-point game, a 21-point game, a 22-point game, 24-point game, 28-point game, and then, of course, like you said, he tied his 31-point in a career-high performance against the Auburn Tigers. This, to me, is obviously the runaway Freshman of the Year. Yeah. I don't even think it's close. It should be unanimous at this point. And what he provides for this team, I think it's so dangerous because he can score in so many different ways. But also, too, yeah, he is a freshman, but he truly seems to be a real leader for the squad.
Well, let's start to have the conversation. Who is the SEC Player of the Year? I mean, there really isn't one.
Right.
It's not like last year where it was so far and away Janai Broome.
Right.
The only one I could make a case for outside of Darius Acuff would probably be Thomas Houck.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't see another player who's consistently had. I mean, Tyler Tanner looked like he had the potential there. He scored 4 points on Saturday. So,
right. And typically a lot of times you just go to whoever the leading scorer is. The leading scorer this year is LeBaron Philon, and there's some nights where Aiden Holloway has looked better.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's a credit to Alabama because they have a good team, but you just can't go automatically the highest scorer in the SEC because night to night, a lot of times he's like this past weekend, he wasn't the highest scorer on his own team.
So maybe your take isn't that bad because can he be the Player of the Year? Because if he's the Player of the Year, I think Nate Ament has a chance to be Freshman of the Year.
Freshman of the Year, yeah. I mean, he could backdoor his way into it. I know I said that Nate Ament was going to win Freshman of the Year, but he could backdoor his way into it if Darius Acuff Jr.
Like the backdoor cover. We love the backdoor cover.
Yeah.
You love the backdoor cover.
I do.
When you're out there betting.
Another big player for this, or another big guy for this Arkansas team has been Billy Richmond, and he's one of these guys that I think that when you get closer and closer to March, you just need some of these glue pieces to really help you take that next step.
Yeah, and he honestly, I'm going to make a SEC to SEC player kind of comparison. Mm-hmm. He's like Ruben Chinyelu over there at Florida.
It's a good
defense-based guy. I mean, Billy Richmond, he's more of a defensive-minded guy, and if he gives you 10-plus points a night, that's a good night for him on the offensive side. But what he was able to do in this big-time win against Auburn, 25 points, that is his new career high.
Yes.
I mean, it's just whenever you get that, if you're John Calipari, you've got to be thrilled because that means, you know, we played the sound earlier in the year. You got to pass it before. You got to pass it 5 times. We're going to go back to the 8th grade stuff.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, yeah, Acuff is going to be your dominant scorer. Mm-hmm. But when you have other guys like, and especially if you don't have like Nick Pringle stepping up for you on certain nights, Trevin Brazil maybe not stepping up so much. If you can get Billy Richmond to score 25 points, I mean, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned with Pringle, didn't even attempt a shot in the game, only had 2 points on the free throw line. And you mentioned with Richmond, not just having the 25 points, but a very efficient night, 12 of 15 from the floor, and picked up 4 assists, 3 boards there as well. So it's a kind of nice little 1-2 punch here for Coach John Calipari. He talked about Billy Richmond III after the game.
He knows who he is. You got other guys that they want to be something that they're not. So you don't look as good. He knows exactly who he is. He does. And he plays to his strengths. I wish every player would do it. They don't, because they get coached by everybody telling them, here's what you need to do. How about you just be you? Some guys should just be great rebounders. I'm going to go be double-digit rebounder. For a long while, the number one rebounder in the country always got drafted. You want to get drafted? Be hard. That's hard. No, let me just shoot balls and do different. I can really pass. They're not taking you because you can pass. But if you're the leading rebounder and they know you'll go get balls, you'll get drafted. So he knows who he is. And again, he's one that if he screws up, he'll say it. Come on, Billy. My fault, coach. We got other guys, I tell her, go to your bathroom, look in the mirror, and say, I'm sorry, my fault. And no, it ain't like a stab in your eye. You can admit you're wrong. That's on me. I love coaching him because I know what I'm getting. Doesn't mean he makes every shot, every free throw. He doesn't. But you talk about the energy. I know what I'm getting from him every night he plays.
Coach Cal, he's awesome. He's good for a great soundbite, but there's so much truth to what he was talking about just then. And almost using Billy Richmond III as hey, this is an example of if you want to go to the next level, you want to fulfill your dreams of being a pro basketball player, play within who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. And I know Darius Acuff, he'll lead all the shows. He'll lead this show. He'll be the talk of the SEC on SEC Network and everybody else. But he's like, hey, if you want to take it to that next level, be Billy Richmond, be Nick Pringle. And I think that he's trying to get that a different way, so he praises it when he sees it in a guy like Richmond.
Yeah, and when we talked about the whole Vic Schaefer calling out his team last week, you brought up a lot of times these coaches really use these press conferences to talk to the teams. And I almost feel like that's what John Calipari was doing here. And, I mean, I almost feel like he was directing this towards the Carter Knoxes, at times the Trevin Brazils, the Nick Pringles, as you mentioned, to be like, hey, you don't have to just affect the game with your scoring. Yes, it's like the Rolls Royce. Yes, it's like the most prestigious thing. If you can score 20 points,
right,
that's going to be eye candy.
Yeah.
But what could also be eye candy is you grabbing 20 rebounds.
Exactly.
That's something that catches a lot of people a lot of people's eyes, because if you really think about it, we hear a ton of 20-point performances. I can't remember the last time somebody grabbed 20 rebounds in a game. I think it happened this year, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But it just goes to show you that 20-point rebounding games honestly do more for your team than you scoring 20 points when you're not really a scorer.
Right.
Because that's almost like taking away opportunities from your true scorers. And that's not how you run an efficient offense.
Exactly. So they've won 6 of the last 7. As a look at the stretch here for this Arkansas team as they continue to move forward. I do believe that obviously it's not easy. I mean, you still got Bama in there. You got Texas A&M, who was leader in the SEC.
Jumped back into the rankings.
That's right. Yeah, back there at number 25. So, Florida, and you have a Texas team that is kind of feeling themselves right now. We've talked about with Roger Wallace. This won't be easy for Coach Cal's bunch.
No, and I mean, you have to go on the road to Alabama, as you mentioned. You take on a Missouri team that before the Texas game, if I'm not mistaken, Missouri is the very last team in right now after the loss to Texas. So they have a lot to play for. Texas A&M, I wouldn't expect their losing streak to still be going on by the time that they play Arkansas, but you never know. They are starting to get into desperation mode for a win. The Florida game is definitely going to be the measuring stick for this young group, and then, as you mentioned, the Texas game to open up March. So it's getting down to crunch time. This Arkansas team is currently at a 5 seed. That's the latest I saw. So I mean, right around that kind of. Everyone talks about the 12-5 upset.
Yeah.
So it's that water where it's like, and Coach Cal and upsets don't really go well
I know,
together.
and
It's getting a little weird.
yeah, he's been on both sides of those, and obviously he's been on the side where his team has been the favorite and been a little disappointing back in his Kentucky days. I know that last year Arkansas made a nice little run. They probably could have gone further last year.
I will say this. What do some of these mid-major schools do well when they make the tournament?
All rebound.
But they all shoot the three pretty good.
Exactly, yeah.
What have I been on my high horse about this entire year? Coach Cal teams can't defend three-point shooting.
Yeah.
And I mean, Saturday it was Auburn that really couldn't defend the three-pointer that well, but it's just something to keep an eye on here as we start to get these. It's almost bracket time.
Yes.
And these are just things you got to keep in the back of your minds if you're trying to make the perfect bracket here and crunch all the numbers.
Right.
Take the analytics-based approach like Todd Golden does.
Exactly. Speaking of Todd Golden, one of his good friends in the coaching business was Stephen Pearl. The two coached together under head coach Bruce Pearl. This was going to be a hard job, no matter what, for Auburn. They were the #1 overall seed last year. They had gone on a really great run over the last close to a decade under Bruce Pearl. They've fallen into a bit of a dry spell so far. Still competitive, still playing well, but they've lost now 4 games in a row after that Arkansas game. This is a tough stretch here for Coach Pearl and company.
Yeah, and if you don't be careful enough, it's going to get late pretty quickly here. And I almost feel like it's starting to become a conversation here where they might slip out of the tournament altogether. And I think their resume right now, if the season were to end today, they should definitely be in as an 8 or a 9
for
seed.
Sure.
But it's one of those things where 4 straight losses now, 2 of which are just like the kind of head scratchers, and they were the last team to make Florida look bad. And that's something that almost feels like a distant memory at this point. And Todd Pettiford had a really nice game against Arkansas, dropping 28 points. It's just, do we need to start having this conversation where Auburn might miss the tournament even though they beat a Florida team? And who knows? So who knows how this next month and a half pans out? But that may be Florida's last loss. Once it's all said and done.
Yeah, no question. And I think Todd Pettiford, there were so many questions about him earlier in the year, and he came off the bench one game, and the reporting was him and Stephen Pearl kind of did not see eye to eye, but he's been the leading scorer the last 3 games. They just have not been able to get over the hump. Scored 92 against Bama, and they lost. Scored 76 against Vanderbilt, and they lost, and of course lost 88-75 there on Saturday. There you see what Auburn's resume looks like right now. They're kind of teetering towards the end there. They have 6 games left there in the regular season. They sit 5-7 right now in SEC play. I don't know if this team is a tournament team as we speak right now. It could be dicey.
I think they do. Most projections have them as an 8 or a 9 seed.
Right.
But I mean, you take a look at this stretch upcoming. You should beat Mississippi State, but Kentucky's going to be a tough one. Oklahoma is really kind of starting to find something. Surprisingly.
Feeling a little more confident.
Ole Miss, you should win that one.
Should be favored, but
I mean, the one good thing is the hard games are out of the way for Auburn.
Yes.
I mean, this was without a doubt a bit of a tough stretch, but we might be sitting here in 2 weeks from now talking about the second iteration of Alabama-Auburn being the determining factor in whether or not Auburn makes the NCAA tournament.
Yep. And
that's just how it has panned out here with 4 straight losses.
Right, and I think that even if they do go undefeated up until that Alabama game, I think there still might be some questions there towards that game to see if they're in or not. But also keep in mind, if you fall on the 8-9 line, let's just say you win that first game, your next game is against the #1 seed typically, unless there's a 1-16 upset. So Auburn has some road to hoe. It does seem manageable that they can work their way back into the tournament, but it's a really tough stretch right now. 4-game losing streak for the guys.